Are you sitting somewhere dark? Are you sitting somewhere dark? Dark. Are you sitting somewhere? I have for you today 3 more ghost stories. I'm aware that some of these stories are going to sound totally far-fetched. Like I've said before, the only way that I can explain some things is to be like, oh well, I guess I just momentarily went mad or was momentarily hallucinating. Here are 3 stories all to do with apparitions and shadows. Yes, apparitions. I'm going to start with one that I was not alone for. Once again, it was in the Southbridge vaults in Edinburgh, where I used to work for a spooky ghost tour company. Spent a lot of time in the vaults, you know, when there were no tours going on or anything. But one of the guides and I, a friend of mine, we went in there together. So the place is like a corridor that goes along and has these like little small staircases along the way. And I think I'm just seeing things. I think it's just a trick of the light or something. But he turns to me and says, "Do you see what's standing on the stairs?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And both of us could see the figure of a man, like clear as day, as clear as I see my own hands right now. The dark, shadowy outline of a man standing on the first little flight of stairs. Like just standing. It was kind of like, you know, a cliche looking ghost, a standing man-shaped shadow. It was so fucking scary because this was only a few feet away from where we were. There also came the sense of not being welcome there. We just sort of looked at each other and were like, we should go. So we left. You can believe me or not, but as you just heard, I was not alone. I wasn't the only person who saw the same thing. Maybe that story loses a lot of its power in the retelling. That was one of the scariest experiences I ever had. It was so scary. You know, you see something like that and you can't believe what you're seeing, but like you have to believe what you're seeing. It's there. It's right there. I'm going to leave the most far-fetched story for the last. The next one is about a shadow. The next one was from perhaps 4 years ago, and I was at home when I lived still in my hometown of Dunedin in New Zealand, and I believed that my house was haunted. Sorry mother, my mum lives there now. She doesn't think it's haunted. I'm convinced it's haunted. It's totally haunted. Even the guy who used to live there, who I randomly met by accident one day, he said it was haunted too. It's totally haunted, okay? Anyway, now that we've established that, I was standing in my bedroom, like just talking to my boyfriend at the time, and I saw this shadow, kind of like a small, thin little shadow, just pass across the room. It was quite fast, like just passed over objects, like passed across furniture, across the wall and away, and it was caused by nothing. Like there were no moving objects, there was no moving light, like there was no way that anything could have created a shadow like that, and it just, there was something about it that just looked so unnatural. I didn't say anything, but he did, my then boyfriend. He said, "Did you see that?" Yes, I did. Have you got any idea what that could possibly have been? I just know there's a lot of weird stuff we can't explain, and I really enjoy that. I like the fact that we can't explain it, and that's what kind of makes it scary. But that was really weird, so if you've got any ideas or suggestions as to what that could have been, this small, thin, stick-shaped, I guess, passing around my bedroom, please go ahead and make your suggestions. Now for the third and most ridiculous story, the one I don't expect most of you to believe, but hey, whatever. Going back now to the Southbridge vaults of Edinburgh. If you heard my previous stories from there, most nights I was the person who jumped out and went boo at the end of the tours. That involved like kind of waiting down the end of the vaults while the tour group was further up the corridor inside one of the vaults, so that I was totally hidden from them the whole time. I would just sit there and wait and be listening to the tour guide, waiting for my cue to jump out and go boo. I would just be sort of hovering around the door, standing there, usually feeling pretty scared because it's not a nice place to be on your own. I looked to the entrance of one of the vaults, to this like arched stone doorway, and I shit you not, there materialized a small boy. Like, just materialized out of nothing for a moment or two and then became nothing again. And I was like, did I actually just see that? Or I often like to engage in conversations with the tourists afterwards to see what sort of experiences they had had, if any. And at least 2 people that day said that they'd felt something like like tugging on their jacket or tugging on their trouser leg, as if there was like an annoying kid like trying to get their attention. I guess if you have children you'll know what that is. They're like, hey, I'm here. So do you believe that there was a small boy ghost in there trying to tug on coats and get people's attention? It must be hard being a lost little boy ghost. Well, believe it or not, those are my stories, and those things happened. Those stories are true. I have no other way to explain those things. If you have an explanation, by all means, go ahead. I would love to hear it, but I said at the beginning the only way that I could pass these things off is anything other than I saw ghosts. I just went mad for half a minute or something. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed these stories, and please, if you have a ghost story of your own, please share it in the comments section below, because I love reading them. Like, I genuinely love reading them. If you have one, by all means, go ahead and tell us below. Share the spookiness. Speaking of spookiness, if you have yet to do so, please subscribe to my channel. I put out at least 2 videos every week. And as always, take care of yourselves and be nice to each other. And I will see you next time. Bye. Ooh, being spooky.